everyone, my name is Jessie and welcome back to my channel. Today I am reviewing Storm and Fury by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. I release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so let's get right into it. So Storm and Fury follows a young girl who just turned 18 and she is living in this compound with what are called wardens, and these are creatures that are gargoyles that can shapeshift to look like humans, and they are supposed to protect human beings from demons. So they are our demon hunters and killers, if you will. This young girl, she is human and something else, and throughout the book, we're trying to figure out and unravel the mystery of exactly what she is, in addition to being human, and why she lives with these wardens. So I'm not going to say too much until the spoiler part of this review. But yeah, that pretty much sums up what Storm and Fury is about. So to start out with, we're going to talk about some of the not so great things that were in Storm and Fury, keeping spoiler free until the second part of the video. So if you're watching now, fear not, there will be no spoilers yet, but the not so great parts. So first of all, this definitely does read a bit young, so I might be a little bit too old for the target audience for this book. There was a couple of moments of just really cheesy dialogue where it was a little cringy. There were characters who kind of tried to outwit each other, and it was just a little cheesy at some points. So that was something that kind of pulled me out of the story a couple of times, and I wasn't crazy about it. Another not so great thing, I'm not a huge fan of romantic fantasies, and this definitely puts a pretty heavy emphasis on romance. If you like romance in your fantasies and you like that being one of the more central plot points, this may be for you. That's just personally not my taste, so I wasn't crazy about what I felt at times was the forced romantic drama that was going on in this book. It was very romance heavy. I mean, I read probably a 100-page stretch at one point in one sitting, and it was all romance. Like, I was like, where is my fantasy? That's just not what I love in a fantasy book, but if you love that, this may be for you. Something else that I wasn't crazy about that was hard to get past, our main character, Trinity, is an 18-year-old girl, and she is pretty immature. And at points, it's understandable because she is kind of hidden from normal society in this compound with these wardens, and is very much looked after and kind of coddled her whole life. So I can understand from a certain point where that immaturity would come from, but she was just so immature at times that it was very frustrating as a reader. I mean, there were times where it was drama because of her immaturity, and that's not something that I love. And it did get better as the book went on, so I will say that there was a nice arc, and I'm going to talk more about that in the spoiler section. But I just, at times, her immaturity was just so frustrating, and I really couldn't get past it. And then the last thing that I found not so great about this one was the twist, one of the twists. And I'm not going to say anything else until the spoiler section. So if you want to know more about that twist, stay tuned until the spoiler section, but I'm going to keep it at that for now, and I know that's very vague. I just don't want to give anything away. So let's talk about the good. So spoiler free once again, the good things in Storm and Fury. Zane. Zane is one of our main characters. He is the romantic interest in this book, and we love Zane. And when I say we, I went on Goodreads to look at reviews after this, after reading this, just to get an idea of what other folks thought of it and if I was kind of in the majority or in the minority with some of my thoughts. And I was definitely in the majority with loving Zane. Everyone seems to love Zane, and I couldn't agree more. So definitely one of the high points of the book was that character. It was really, really interesting getting to follow him and see his arc. So I love Zane. Another thing that was great in Storm and Fury was the visuals at times. So the visuals of the gargoyles shape-shifting from gargoyle to human and the way that's described is so excellently done. I could see it in my head as it was happening in this book, and it was really a cool part of the world building. And kind of the next thing was the world building. So there was quite a lot of different types of demons and different types of creatures past just demons, and I'm going to go more into it in the spoiler section. That I absolutely loved some of that world building and learning about those demons and how to fight them and kind of how they're all connected, and I thought that was very cool. Another thing that I really enjoyed was another twist in the book, and I'm keeping it pretty tight-lipped until the spoiler section. So if you want to know more about the good twist, stay tuned. But one of the other last good things, I know that I mentioned in my bad section Trinity's immaturity, but she also is suffering from this eye disease, so she's slowly going blind in this book, and the way that that is handled is so excellently done, and the way that it's talked about, those were some of my absolute favorite scenes in the book, was just the learning more about that and hearing Trinity's strength talk about that. I really thought that that could have been more woven throughout the book. I so enjoyed kind of seeing the character's strength from that. So I thought that was really excellently done. Before I get into the spoilers, I will give you my rating, and that was a 3 out of 5 stars. I would highly recommend this book for those of you that love the Shadowhunter series. Oh my god, this had so much Shadowhunters in it. I mean, it's a totally different world, totally different author, totally different idea, but the world and just the demons and the creatures fighting the demons and this character who's kind of hidden from the world and, is living with these demon fighters. I mean, my god, could we get any more mortal instrumentsy? So if you loved the Shadowhunters, this very much reads like the Shadowhunters. It's that urban type fantasy with a lot of romance subplots. So I highly recommend this if you love that series and love Cassandra Clare in general. I'm going to leave it there for spoiler free. So if you are interested in reading this book, again, 3 out of 5 stars. Read it if you like Shadowhunters. So if you haven't read this book and would like to, I'm going to say goodbye. And for those of you who are sticking around, I'm going to talk about some of those spoiler parts of my review. So starting off with the bad twist. I was not a fan of the twist where we find out that Zane was supposed to be Trinity's protector the entire time. And the only reason I'm saying I didn't enjoy that is because I called it so early on. There were a ton of hints, and if you were looking for it, it was definitely there. I had called it, and I always hate calling a twist. I mean, I'm usually pretty bad at it, so when I can call a twist, I'm not too impressed. But yeah, that's the only reason I didn't enjoy it. So if some of you were surprised with that twist and loved it, that's so awesome. I wish I had been surprised with it, and I would have probably liked it a bit more if that was the case. In terms of the good twist, though, I actually really enjoyed the Misha twist, and that was one I did not see coming. I didn't think that he would turn out to be bad. I did think that that was a little bit rushed at the end there. I would have liked to have known kind of what he went through during his captivity that would have changed him so much to become so evil and to become so against Trinity. I kind of found that was very much brushed over very quickly. Like, it was all of the sudden, oh yeah, I've hated you this whole time, and that's that, and I'm trying to kill you. It's like, but why? Like, where did this come from? What happened during your captivity? And maybe we'll find out in the next book. I know this is a series, so maybe that's one of them where we purposefully didn't tie that in a bow. But yeah, I was kind of like, I liked the twist because I didn't see it coming, but then it was brushed over very quickly, and I wish we would have kind of heard a little bit more explanation behind it. Another couple things, I did not understand why Jada and Ty were in this book. And again, it's a series, so maybe we're going to get some more of their characters in the next book. I don't think we ever met Ty, for one thing, and he's mentioned so many times in this book as being one of like Trinity's only friends on this compound, and we never actually meet him, I don't think. If we did, it was so quick and so forgettable that I don't even remember it. But Jada was pretty useless. She didn't do much. She kind of just was the friend that Trinity would talk to if she didn't have anyone else to talk to, and didn't really move the plot forward in any way, didn't contribute anything to the plot, so I found her character very useless. That was very strange to me. But I will say, with that negative comes some positive, because I did think that this ended on such a strong note. It was great. I loved the whole Misha drama, Misha drama at the end with that twist, and then I did, even though I called the whole protector twist, I did like how it was done, so it makes me excited to read the next book. And even though this was a 3 out of 5 for me, I will be picking up the next one because it ended on such a strong note. So props to Jennifer L. Armentrout for hooking me at that very end moment where it matters the most and makes you want to pick up the next book. So I'd love to hear your thoughts now. What did you think of Storm and Fury? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What did you think of the characters? Did it remind you so much of Shadowhunters? And did it remind any of you of that old, like, cartoon movie, The Gargoyles, with, like, when they turn into stone and they're trying to help that detective? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Yes? No? Maybe? It reminded me so much of that. So overall, again, 3 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it just fine. It's just not my typical fantasy type of read. I'm not usually a huge fan of urban fantasies, so that's probably why it didn't get higher stars for me. But it was a well-executed book. I'm definitely going to pick up the sequel, and I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. So if you haven't already, make sure to like this video and subscribe. And until next time, bye.